Okay, so Buttercup, I actually did this video yesterday and I'm so upset. The mic was not working. It caught all this extra sound. So I have to do kind of like a voiceover style today because yesterday my mic was cutting up. I had technical difficulties. So I had to redo this video. I hope y'all enjoy it, okay? Oh, what's up, Buttercup? It is I, it is me, it is she, Barbie P, and welcome back to my channel. And of course, I gotta give my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, a dietitian, or a nutritionist, or Jesus, because some of y'all, you want me to rock a miracle, and I'm like, sis, just put the fork down, okay? I am just a girlie that has lost over 100 pounds. I have tips and tricks that have helped me out, and hopefully they will help you out. Always seek professional help on your fat loss, weight loss journey. Now, with all of that out the way, let's jump into this video. So, if you watched my last video, I talked about Your Back is Wide Holiday Edition. This video is pretty much a holiday survival guide, and I actually tried this last year and it did work. It worked, but I'm just gonna refine it and bring it in a little bit more. So this is just my holiday survival guide. If you're gonna do it, yeah, let's do this together, okay? So, just a little backstory. I started my weight loss journey March 1st, 2021. I was 300 pounds and 8 ounces. That year, I lost about 40 ish pounds, but the holiday season came, Buttercup. The holiday season came, and pretty much I would say mid-September to the end of the year, I was getting my eat on, kind of like on and off, and I went into the next year, Buttercup, with a solid 20 pounds. I think it was 21 pounds. And Buttercup, this was 21 pounds of, I would just say, pure fat, because this was after I had, eaten pretty healthy for about a week or so, and I took a good poo, and pretty much that weight was like a solid 18 pounds after that. So I had pretty much gained, out of the 40 pounds I lost, I gained a solid 21 pounds. Then after a good poo, it was a solid 18 pounds. So it took me almost 4 months to lose that 18 pounds. Because on average, I was only losing about 1.5 to maybe 2 pounds a week. So that's why it would take me a while to lose the weight. So it took me almost 4 months to lose that 18 pounds. Now we're already in April. And from April to about September, I think I lost another 25-ish, 30, 25 to 30-ish pounds. And then the holiday season came again. And you guess what? I did the same thing. So it wasn't until last year I realized the system of what was going on. I'm like, okay, we're not going to keep doing that. So this was my holiday guide for last year. And what I noticed was I did gain 10 pounds after the whole holiday season. I did gain 10 pounds. But before you try to come for me, after 1 week of eating healthy and just going back to my walks, back to my workouts, I lost 7 pounds. So I only gained about 3 pounds of pure fat for the whole holiday season. From September till December. And then when I came into the new year, like I said, I had gained 10 pounds. But just after a good week of eating healthy, getting my workouts, when I weighed back in, it was only like 3 pounds that I actually gained. So that was mostly food weight, a little bit of water weight, and a little bit 3 pounds of pure fat. So anyway, this is my holiday survival guide. Uploaded, reloaded, 2.0, whatever you want to call it. That's what this is, because it's pretty much the beefed up version of what I did last year. So what I will not be doing, I am going to skip out on potlucks this year. Yep, I sure am. Because at my job, and I'm going to do a video solely just on my job and the stuff that they bring. because my job, Buttercup, they will bring stuff all the time. There's always something all throughout, the year, but especially around October, everyone's bringing so much big treats or they're buying stuff. Of course, it's pumpkin everything. And you already know I love me some pumpkin. And of course, I used to contribute as well. I would, during the month of October, I would bring pumpkin desserts, or I'll make my famous pumpkin cake with the cream cheese icing. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, it slaps so good and it's so moist. But yeah, I would bring that. And then November, we would have more sweet treats as well. There's always potlucks or something going on because there just always was. So in November, I would make my famous sweet potato cake. Sweet potato cake with my buttercream icing, or I would do like a cream cheese icing again because I'm a baker. So I would do that. I would bring that to my job and even to the church as well. And then December, I would bring more. I'll still bring like some type of cake, but it would probably be like a carrot cake. And then I would do lots of pies, pecan pies, coconut pies, sweet potato pies, pumpkin pies. I would just be making so much stuff because there's always a potluck. There's always a potluck or something, like the church is doing some type of plate sale. So I would want to contribute. So what I would do for the church is I would make a whole bunch of cakes, whole bunch of pies, to help support for the plate sales or whatever they had going on, or even for, the homeless. I would do that as well. And whenever I did this, Buttercup, because I'm one of those bakers, yes, I still measure, but I'm also kind of like a freehander in a sense. So I would always have just extra batter. And what would happen is by the time I would take, a whole cake to the job and then take a whole cake to my church, I would have extra cake. And it's kind of, I would give it to a friend. Like I would still give the cake out, but I would just have so much that it would just be cakes and stuff laying around at the house. There would be so much cake in the house that I would actually have like this little tray and I would wrap everything up. So I would have like little muffins, little loaves of whatever type of cake that I made of just, leftover cakes and stuff. And like my husband, he would eat on it. And of course, I was eating on it. So it was just a lot of cakes. So what I am doing this year, I am not baking. People at my job and at the church, I'm just not going to bake because I'm just not. Or I would say I'm not baking as much. So pretty much I'm going to take care of my house, if that makes sense. So instead of trying to bake, 3 or 4 cakes for everybody, I'm just going to bake a cute small cake for my house, and that is it. That's it. I am not baking for everybody. I'm just not going to do it because, again, if I bake in such large volume, it's way too much cake at the house. And then of course with baking, I have to taste it. So I make my icing. Sometimes if it tastes, whatever, I might add a little bit more lemon juice, or I'll add a little bit more powdered sugar, or I might add more butter or more maple syrup. So, I'm always kind of tasting. And those little calories, not little calories, but those calories will add up, especially if I'm baking for the whole month. Because I would be baking, Buttercup, almost the whole month of November, the whole month of October, the whole month of December. I'm baking something. So I'm tasting something at least once a week. And then I'm bringing the stuff to the job. I'm bringing the stuff to the church at least once a week or every other week. And then there's leftovers at home. So for me, like I said, I'm just going to completely skip out on the potlucks. And I'm skipping out on like plate sales and stuff at the church. Now, what I will do, I will still contribute, but I'm not participating. So my contribution this year for a potluck or for a plate sale, I will just give the money to whoever the coordinator person is, and that's just going to be my contribution. So it's not me bringing my cake. I'm not going to bake because, again, if I have to bake in such large volumes, there's going to be way too much at the house, and that's going to cause just extra nibbling. And I know it's like I could technically take the cakes, take more cakes to the job or, take them somewhere else. But just with my schedule, it's just, I'm not trying to do all of that. So my goal this year, like I said, I'm skipping out on the potlucks completely. I'm skipping out on plate sales completely this year. I will contribute. I'm just not participating. Because like I said, baking is just a lot. Now, if someone wants to place an order for a cake, that is completely fine, because I don't mind when people will place orders for a cake. And that's one thing too, Buttercup. I was baking so much, it got to a point people were used to me baking, so they never wanted to place a cake order because they're just like, I know she's going to bring something. And no lie, Buttercup, I saw one of my coworkers, I had baked some type of cake. And one of my coworkers literally took, and my cakes are thick and they're huge, they're tall, they're like those type of grandma type of cakes. That's how they are, that thick, rich kind of cake. And you can cut like a little slice, but when you pull it out, it's so thick, like me. It's a big slice. But this coworker, they literally took they took 1/4 of the cake, and that 1/4 of the cake is almost the size of a mini cake, because that's just how thick and big the cake was. So it got to a point they never placed an order because they didn't need to. So for me, even though I'm good doing it at the good inside my heart, still it's just not to do it. So if you want a cake, just place an order, pay full price for it, because I'm not giving discounts, pay full price. But yeah, you want a cake, place an order. But other than that, if someone's having a potluck or a plate sale, I'm just going to, here's, $20, $30. Y'all get what y'all need for the potluck, and I'm done. And mentally, it's out of my mind. I don't have to worry about nothing else. And yeah. And the next thing, I am avoiding treats at the job. If it's not homemade, I don't want it. Okay. So the treats at the job is all of the candies, all of the kind of like store-bought cookies, pumpkin stuff. I'm avoiding all of that, because one thing that I noticed throughout my weight loss journey, like I said, I would gain, 15 to 25 pounds of pure fats, okay? Not bloated, not water weight, but pure fat. Was because at the job, they will have all of these, especially around October, they had all of these candies, and especially the Reese's. Lord knows, okay? That chocolate peanut butter combination, it just does something to my mouth, and it's just so good. It does something to my taste buds. But what I would do is I would get a Reese's before I start my shift. And then you just know, every time you go to the break room just to check your phone or check your purse, I noticed that I would be going in and I would grab a Reese's, or I would grab 2 Reese's. And then other people are grabbing stuff as well. So then maybe about midway through my shift, the Reese's are gone. So I'm like, oh man, I don't have nothing to grab. So then I would grab something else. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is almost, 400 to potentially 1,000 calories of just candy that I was eating like 4 to 5 times a week because I'm going to work. Because it was just there. It was one of those things, like, just because it was there, it's like, oh, okay. So I'm avoiding the holiday treats this year. I'm avoiding that. It's nothing wrong, of course, with having an occasional Reese's. There's nothing wrong with having the treats, okay, Buttercup. But the thing is, if you don't know how to control yourself, if you feel like it's going to have you spiraling, I would just say completely avoid it. Like, why are you going to be around stuff that's triggering you? And you know it's a trigger. So I'm just going to avoid it. And then even sometimes at the church, like after church, they will have cupcakes, they'll have ice cream, like they'll just have like little things. And there's nothing wrong with having some stuff occasionally. But like I said, it adds up. So if I'm eating, 4 or 5 Reese's 5 times a week on top of my regular calories, even if I'm working out, I'm not in a calorie deficit. I'm in a calorie surplus. And that's not including if I was actually baking and bringing in cakes and stuff and having leftover cake at home. So you're seeing how like everything is just adding up. So yes, I'm avoiding the treats at the job. If it's store bought, I don't want it. If it's homemade. And what I mean homemade is if I know this person as a sugar mama and like putting her foot in it, or like they, if it's a mother and a mother makes a sweet potato pie or a cake or something, what I'm going to do is, depending on the time frame, I might have one slice of whatever it is and like let it be a small slice, or I will wait around the holiday time, and if I know that they're a boss in the kitchen, I will go ahead and just place my order. Be like, can you make me a small sweet potato biscuit or whatever that the mothers might make? I'll just go ahead and put my order in and just call it, because really homemade treats are so much better than the store-bought treats. I'm just saying, okay? So yeah, we are avoiding those treats at the job because they will add up. Because guess what, Buttercup? There's going to be something every day, or at least something every week. And when you really start tracking your calories or just tracking what you're eating, it's going to add up. If you're eating, 4 and 5 cupcakes throughout the week, and then you're eating your regular food, and then you're nibbling and snacking, like all this stuff adds up, and people are like, I don't know why I'm gaining weight. Look at what you're eating. And then if I have to go to a potluck or a family out, I would say mostly like a family outing, and they're having some type of food, because family does get together more around the holidays, I'm not going to eat everything. I'm going to focus on the time with the family. So if it's Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'll talk about that later. But I'm just saying, like, throughout the month, if people are having functions or whatever, I'm still going to do what I normally do. I'm going to still stay in my calorie deficit. I'm still going to get my steps in. I'm going to get my workout on. I'm going to be drinking my water and focus on family time. So if there are family dinners, instead of me focusing on the dinner, I am going to focus on the time with the family. So you might see me make a plate, but it will be a small plate. Or you might not even see me eat at all, because I will probably eat prior, and I'll be the one bringing in the games. I'll be the one bringing in, hey, I made this hot cocoa, or I made, some apple cider or something. Like, I'll be the one bringing something light or bringing something to entertain. So I'm still enjoying the family time, but I'm not letting food be the sole focus, if that makes sense. Because this was something too, Buttercup, with me. I'm married, so we would have all these things going on with different family members. So, I got my side of the family, I got his side of the family. And then what I'm noticing is, okay, this side of the family, I got to try grandma's this, I got to try this. And on my side of the family, I got to try auntie's this. Because, everyone wants to feed you. So, like I said, I'm eating all these treats at the job. I'm baking for the job and the church. And then when I have family time with extended family, I'm eating all their goodies as well. And then we come around to Thanksgiving. And then we come around to Christmas. So pretty much, like I said, now when it comes to family time, I'm going to enjoy the family, but not make it food centered, even if it is food centered. I will be the one bringing in Monopoly. I will be bringing in the Jenga. I will be the one, I'm going to learn some TikTok dances, and I'm going to be able to, I'm going to teach some family members some TikTok dances, and we're going to do little TikToks together. So we're still having family time, but we're not solely focusing on food. You get me, Buttercup? Okay. And my last thing is, I am not going to be cooking the way I normally cook. I know y'all saw my video. Buttercup, what was I doing? Listen, I noticed that whenever it came around to Thanksgiving and Christmas, and this was just something that was just in me, okay? I learned this from childhood. you would always make a big spread of food. You would have 4 or 5 meats, 3 to 4 different type of veggies, 4 different desserts. Like, you would have all of this stuff, all this food, all these carbs. You just have everything. And pretty much my first year being married, I cooked everything because that's just what I saw growing up. I'm like, hey, I get to do it now. And I did that for the first, I believe, 3-ish years. And it wasn't until last year I just said, this is too much food. Because, Buttercup, I would cook so much food. The whole Philadelphia Eagles team could come to the house and have Thanksgiving, and there would still be some leftovers. Because I was just cooking way too much. Like, why am I cooking that much? It's literally only 3 people in the house. It's only 3 people in the house. Why am I cooking this much food? And of course, my husband, he didn't mind because, men, they can eat. Ladies, let me tell you something. We are not the same. Men can eat just about whatever they want. And sometimes they gain weight, sometimes they don't. But men can just do that. With women, you have to be, unless you are just 100% muscle, you can't eat everything that the man eats and with the same quantity. Like, you can't eat as much. You can still nibble on stuff. You can still have the food, but not a huge plate of food 2 to 3 times a day. Because that was my problem. I cooked all this food, and of course it was great. Of course it tasted amazing. So he's not complaining. He's just eating. But what happens is I cooked all this food, so now I'm eating, macaroni and cheese, candied yams, and ham for breakfast and potato salad. And I'm wondering, I'm praying that the Lord bless this food to be a nourishment for my body. And I just pass out because it's like, girl, you're starting your day with baked macaroni and cheese, pretty much a sweet potato casserole type of dish, potato salad, and ham. So you're not going to have no energy for the day. So I would have that for breakfast. And then midday, well, not midday, but like more around lunchtime, now I'm having maybe turkey with dressing. And of course, I'm running back the candied yams and the baked mac and cheese and maybe a little bit of collard greens. And then now we're eating, late. I would eat late too. I didn't have a cutoff time. So now we're eating about maybe 9:30. And I'm having another full-blown meal, or this is where I'm having like a slice of carrot cake or, big old bowl of banana pudding. So it would just be so much food, Buttercup, that I'm literally eating off it maybe 5 to 7-ish days. And I don't know about y'all, but I would cook so much that I would also freeze everything. So that's how much I was cooking, Buttercup. So I would cook so much food. And then once it's cooked, I would already portion it out and put a good amount of it in the freezer. So I literally have like a whole bag of collard greens in the freezer, a whole bag of cabbage in the freezer, a whole bag of candied yams in the freezer. Like, what was I doing? Like I said, Buttercup, I was cooking way too much. So what I am doing, I did this last year. I cooked enough for 3 to 5-ish days, and it worked out great. So what I'm going to do this year, I'm only going to cook enough food for 1 to 3 days. And really, by the 3rd day, it should be pretty much gone. Maybe a little corner of banana pudding left, but it should be pretty much gone. So a solid 2 days of enjoyment. And then the last day is just like that last little hit, that last little taste of something, and then it's pretty much done. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then also just some random little tips as well. If you are going to be eating, please continue your walks. Don't stop. And that was one thing in the beginning of the journey, why I would gain so much weight is I would mentally check out. Because it's the holidays. I gotta enjoy. I gotta, hang out with my family and comfort and all of this type of stuff. And I would just mentally stop my training. I would stop working out. I would stop walking as much. So now I'm eating, more food and I'm not moving as much. So now the weight is actually staying because I'm not doing as much activity. But what saved me last year, Buttercup, like I said, it literally took 3 or so Thanksgivings for me to figure this out. And I changed the game up last year. So I still did get my eat on, but I made sure I stayed in my calorie deficit before Thanksgiving and before Christmas. I stayed in my calorie deficit. I made sure I still did my workouts. I still drank my water. I still got my walks. Like, I still did everything else. And even though I still ate, for I think it was probably 3 to 5-ish days, I was still working out on the days that I ate. I was still getting my walks and stuff. So I didn't just completely stop. And that's what I just noticed, that if I was eating crazy and completely stopped working out, and I'm eating the treats at the job, and I'm baking more, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, that's why I was gaining 15 to 25 pounds of pure fat, Buttercup. That's why. So these are just the little things that I learned. I know some people will probably say it took me a long time to lose 100 pounds. Well, guess what, Buttercup? I had to completely reparent myself. I had to completely learn from scratch because I knew about calories because I had a weight loss journey prior, but I didn't know what to do. So I had to learn everything. I had the big back mindset. I had the I deserve mindset. I had a little bit of all or nothing going on. So it was a lot of stuff I had to just unlearn. And I'm super happy and thankful because even if I do gain weight, I don't gain no more than 3 to 5-ish pounds. And really, I have a 5-pound rule, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't gain 5 pounds of pure fat. And what I mean is, like, my 5-pound rule is 5 pounds of pure fat. Not if you had, like, a weekend and you're just a little bloated and there's some water weight and it's 5 pounds, and within a week you eat right and you get a good poo and you're back to your weight. I'm talking about my 5-pound rule is if I gain 5 pounds of pure fat. But the thing is, because I have so many systems in play, and I've been doing this journey for a while now, I haven't gained over 5 pounds. I really haven't. I've gained maybe 3 pounds, maybe 4 throughout the year, but I've lost it. I've maintained my weight, and now I'm, I guess, more in a body recomp because I've been, right now, when I weighed in, I was 193. So, I guess I'm recomping. But anyway, I haven't gained over 5 pounds. I've maintained my weight. I've actually lost weight. I've lost more inches. So what? I'm obviously doing something right. So that's all I'm just trying to say, Buttercup. And then another thing, chill out on the liquid drinks. Because I was a pumpkin spice girly and I still am a pumpkin spice girl. But I would try all the drinks at Starbucks, anything pumpkin or chai or spice. Oh, I was just getting those drinks, y'all, and they would add up, and I just I felt so, I guess, like, cute or girly or whatever when I got one of those Starbucks drinks, or even Whole Foods would have stuff. I was like, yeah, I got me, the new pumpkin spice. But now I have the Premier Protein, and this video isn't sponsored yet, but I have the Premier Protein, and it's the pumpkin edition, and I love it. So I will get almond milk and pour the pumpkin spice protein into it, put my ice, get my ice in there. If I want to, I can put like a little bit of my caramel drizzle, and then that's like my little, my little treat. It tastes great. If I want to do a coffee version, I do the same thing, add a little bit of coffee. Boom, there's my pumpkin spice protein, coffee. And it's maybe 300 calories, if that much. Maybe, but it's probably not even that much. But yes. And another thing, a eating schedule. I know I probably said this several times, but a eating schedule, you need a cutoff time because like I said, I will mentally check out because it's the holidays. So I would be eating past 9 and I would be eating past 9 5 to 7 nights out of the week. So, and then again, I would be having like a slice of cake or, having some of those double eggs or, just whatever was in the refrigerator, whatever sweet treat that was around, I was still eating it past 9 o'clock. So, my eating schedule is pretty much more of 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., maybe 8:30. Sometimes it's 9 o'clock, just depending on the day. Like if it's a Sunday and we had 3 services, I will probably be eating a little bit later. But majority of the time, I stop eating at about 8:30. So, but that's why I said I noticed during the beginning part of my weight loss journey, I would be eating past 8. I'll be eating past 9. I'll be going around to that refrigerator, trying to find a small smack roll around 10 o'clock, getting, a slice of cake or getting, some ham, just kind of walking and eating because it's just there. So that's the thing with I notice is if I have too much of something, I would want to eat it just because it's there. Now, I've gotten better with that. But like I said, this is just the stuff I learned throughout my journey. So if it's too much in the house, it causes me, it would trigger that part of me that wants to just eat because it's just there. So that's why I'm just only cooking, for 1 to 3-ish days. Because if I have too much in the house, it's going to make me want to eat it. Even if and then 2 Buttercup, I was cooking so much that I would be taking food to the job. And I was taking like a nice pan of food to the job of collard greens. And I would cook collard greens and cabbage. So I would do collard greens with ham hock meat. And I would do cabbage with turkey, the turkey wing meat, like smoked turkey wings. I would do that. And I would take the baked mac and cheese and I would take candy and I would take all the stuff to the job. And they was happy. I'm going to tell you something. They were so happy. And they're like, oh my gosh, what is this? Collard greens? What is this sweet potato casserole? I never had this before. This is amazing. So they would just be eating. Like, I'm not going to lie. My job loved me when I was big. I'm just going to say it. My job loved me when I was big because I was always bringing something. I always had sweet treats. I always brought food. So I think one time I brought like some baked ziti. Like I said, I would cook so much. And it was something, like I said, I had to unlearn because my mom, she would always cook a huge spread of food. My grandma would cook a huge spread of food. My auntie, when it was time for me to see one of my aunts, when I went to go spend the night at her house as a kid, she had this big pot of, it's macaroni noodles with a red sauce. And it's there's like beef ribs in it. I don't know. It's I don't know, y'all, but it's like macaroni noodles with some type of red sauce, and then it has rib meat in it. And it was so good. And she'll make a huge pot of it, and you would just eat off that the whole weekend. And then she'll make a big spread of breakfast. So everything in my family was just big spreads. So whenever I cooked, I had to recently, I would even say like last year, I had to recently learn, anyway, last year I had to learn to stop cooking whole spreads because even on a regular Sunday, I would make, dinner for my husband and I would cook this whole spread. And it's like, yeah, it's just him, but still you're cooking too much. So now I had to take stuff to the job or I had to put it in the freezer because I was just cooking way too much. Now, if we have like 5 or 6, boys or something, that'll be fine to cook that much. But it's like, if it's just us, I'm cooking way too much food for just us or for just him. So, like I said, that's just stuff I had to unlearn. I got so many videos to talk to y'all about. I got so much to talk about, Buttercup. So please stay tuned. And I have more content coming. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Drop your survival guide, what you will be doing, or if you're going to do anything that I suggested in the video. But until next time, Buttercup, you already know what to do. Mind your business and tend to your own business. Mind and tend to the business that pays you. And if it doesn't pay you, that means you definitely need to be minding your own business, which is drinking your green juice, going for your pretty and healthy girl walk, and meal prepping your food because it is a sign of self-love. I will catch you in the next one. Bye, Buttercup.